You know, you saw a post asking a question, can these bones live? I'm in Miami, where I was born and raised. And I don't know if you've ever been away from home for a very long time, and you come back and you can't recognize it. It's jaw-dropping. It's different. When I think about my life, when I left here, I had a youth program, and I was working with youth in Liberty City. I was born in an abandoned building on the floor. And I teach people live a life of no regrets. One of the things that I regret that I didn't come back and do the training with kids that I was engaged in Liberty City after my training was interrupted by Janet Reno, who was encouraged to cast aspersions on my character because they thought I would get funding that their program would not get in Coconut Grove. One of the reasons that we don't have the kind of training that's sustainable and impactful for our children. Those in leadership, one, they don't know that they don't know. Two, they fight and argue over who's going to get the money. And three, they also argue about who would get the credit. So I developed a strategy, my training program, that I would train people who would volunteer. And the people in the community would be the people driving it. It would not be around a personality. Some things happen to you and you realize they happen for you. And as a result of that interruption, I turned down the offer of renewing my program, and I said, I'm going to go on the road. I'm going to travel around the world. And using the things that I was teaching these young people, apply those in my own life and demonstrate that they work. And after I earned my first $1 million, which took me 3 years, I'll come back and do the program myself with no funds from the city. After I made my first $1 million, I said, this is good. And I didn't look back. And I kept going because I went to various organizations, the NAACP, the Urban League, churches all over the country, and they're saying, well, we like your program, but you're not teaching young people about Jesus. I said, listen, you teach them about Jesus. I teach the message that Jesus taught. You sell the messenger. I sell his message. And if what you were doing was working so well, I wouldn't be here. But the truth of the matter, they weren't looking at how do we begin to create a self-development program that will give young people a positive image of themselves. They were vehemently opposed to that. They wanted me to teach young people Jesus will fix it. Jesus said, these things ye shall do, and greater things shall ye do. I'm 77 now. Can these bones live? A good friend drove me through Overtown and Liberty City. Nothing like when I came along. Can these bones live? question. Can these bones live? The powers that be ran an expressway through Overtown and Liberty City to disrupt the voting bloc and the businesses. We had our own theaters, own shops, own stores, everything. The expressway, they could have gone further east down the railroad track and built that expressway, but they deliberately wanted to interrupt that voting bloc and that economic power. Black Wall Street didn't just take place in Oklahoma. No. Take place all over the country to this day. Here's what I know. At 77, the ones that control the wealth, which is 1%, they create barriers that help the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And the people like myself who break out in spite of, you gotta be hungry. That's what my new book entitled. You get it on Amazon. You got to be hungry. Racism ain't going nowhere. It's unfair world in which we live in. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do. What do you want to do with your life? We have an expiration date. Talking to the friend that's driving me, and she said one of the things that she looked at her life, she said her significant other, before he passed, was trying to prepare her, and she said she didn't want to hear it. And one of the things she's going to speak about is pay attention. The reason that the 1%, after years, centuries of being empowered, and those numbers have not increased, because of ignorance and because of the 99% are divided by politics and religion. Ignorance, politics, and religion keeps us at each other's throats while they focus on the money, while they follow the money. The orange man, his children have made millions, and still are. The rich are getting richer now. The poor are getting poorer because of how the system is structured. The culture that we live in now, a culture of violence. But cultures are created by people. A culture of violence and poverty created by people. And they can be changed by people. Can these bones live? Yes, absolutely. And the secret is to maintain commitment. Maintain commitment through all the frustrations, through all the disappointment and setbacks, to build the mental resolve, have a thirst for learning. You got to unlearn and relearn and relearn to increase your value and to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Can these bones live? Well, you know, Quincy Jones is a prophet. He had a song years ago. He said, everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Johnny, how are you? I love you. That's my spiritual son, Johnny Wimbrey. From the Hood to Doing Good. That's a good book. That's relevant today. When 1 out of 4 African-American males have been incarcerated, have a criminal background, gone astray. From the Hood to Doing Good. And he's a young man that's brilliant, that is living a life of contribution and living a life of impact. One of my spiritual sons. This thing called life. We woke up this morning. We're still here. And that's a blessing. My goal is to teach you how to make the rest of your life the best of your life. I know a thing or two. I've been on the planet 77 years. I know a thing or two. And I know that everybody can't hear me. Everybody can't hear me. Only the few. He said the road to life is straight and narrow. And few there be that find it. Because few there be that's looking for it. Majority of people just want to survive, just want to be entertained, just want to go out and buy an artificial booty. It's a boobs. It's a fly swatters. And they are hooked up. They are satisfied. Oh, behave. Oh, my God. You know what I've learned to do is just observe. Just watch. Watching people. It's fascinating. And you ask yourself, how can they live like that? Because that works for them. It might not work for you, but it works for them. And it's none of your business. It's none of my business. Mamie Brown, my adopted mother, said, "Oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business." Like this page and share it. I'm going to drop something on you right now. I want you to listen. Each day when you get up, I want you to declare, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you." I want you to say to yourself, "Lord, this is going to be the best day of my life." And then I want you to get still and say, "Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth thee." And then say, here's what I'm going to do today that will make it the best day of my life today. And here's what I'm going to learn today that I did not know yesterday. You got to be intentional. You got to write it down, focus on it, get a 3x5 card, and write what it is you want out of this day. Put on the flip side, Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be open. Life is for living. Make it your business. Get serious about this thing called life. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now. Tyrone was with me, my squirrel friend. He's in the back seat, but his hair can't be seen. He got little short arms, little short legs, but he's back there. He want to give me a high five, whatever. I'll talk to you.